have to say, I almost expected something like this. Let me explain. Hey guys, it's Daniel, licensed therapist. If you don't know Raja, he is a 25-year-old professional MMA fighter who just so happens to be the son of the Rampage Jackson. He was in a pro wrestling event where he was part of the show. He was supposed to take a wrestler named Psycho Stu down and pretend, yes, pro wrestling is pretend, to beat up the guy, but instead he goes full MMA and punches him in the face repeatedly while Stu is unconscious. Honestly, it's very brutal and it's hard to watch. From what I've seen and read from the internet, consensus is that Raja is a monster and that he should be put in jail. And I do agree with the jail part, but guys, I don't think Raja is a monster at all. I know. I've seen the video. Like I said, it's very difficult to watch, but hear me out, guys, because if there was one thing years of being a therapist taught me to do, it is to understand people and maybe have a little bit of compassion. I think, first of all, we need to address whether Raja is a sociopath. And sociopath is just a non-clinical term for antisocial personality disorder, which is the serious criminal or serial killer diagnosis. This is a very serious diagnosis, guys. And hey, I've never met Raja, so I wouldn't definitively say one way or another, but one thing caught my eye during his live stream.
My bad.
You didn't have to do all that shit. I understand y'all had heat. You didn't have to fucking take advantage.
So this is a clip of Raja learning about Psycho Stu's condition, and then he says, my bad. And I've seen a lot of comments minimizing this as an insignificant gesture. He seriously hurts this guy and all he says is my bad. And as a human being, sure, I would say that isn't enough. But as a clinician, I look at that as a demonstration of remorse. And one key characteristic of antisocial personality disorder is that people do not feel remorse. If you were going to be a serial killer, you would really need to not feel remorse, or else you couldn't do it. People would question his authenticity, but to me, it does seem authentic. I would actually expect a sociopath to say,
So what? He had it coming. He hit me with a beer can.
some kind of justification, or maybe he would even take delight in his condition.
I'm glad he's unconscious.
But the fact that he demonstrated a little bit of remorse indicates to me that no, he's not a sociopath, nor does he have antisocial personality disorder. So if Raja is not a sociopath, are there other contributing factors that we need to look at in order to understand him and why he did such a heinous thing? After watching a big part of the live stream and a lot of different clips, I do feel like there are things that I've seen that really changes the narrative of the whole thing. Now, I'm not trying to excuse his behavior, but let's try and get into the mind of Raja while this whole thing plays out. He had suffered a concussion days before this. And I don't know how much that has to do with his judgment. I'm not a medical doctor, nor have I had any experience with concussions, but I understand how not being well can really throw you off.
How does my head feel? I'm still fucked up. I'm not even gonna lie. I was supposed to stream going to fucking paintballing with AJ, but my head was fucked up. I was throwing up and shit.
He may be disoriented during this whole ordeal. Also, his coach, who was a wrestler at the event, told him to punch Psycho Stu when he got in the ring.
Even when we are working like that, you don't fucking, you know
That's
what
what
I
I'm
mean?
saying.
He doesn't
So,
know him like that.
He don't. He's a fucking idiot. Hey. So when you run in on his shit, you fucking give him his receipt. Remember what a receipt is? Give him that fucking receipt, bro. Tag his shit. If you got a fucking problem with it, I'll fucking run out there. Tag his shit, bro.
Raja is not a professional wrestler. He's an MMA artist. He's completely out of his element. So he doesn't know what to do exactly. So he's looking to his strength coach, who is a professional wrestler, at this event to tell him what to do. And in the clip, he gets permission from his coach, an authority figure, mind you, to give him a receipt. And I'm not blaming the coach. He didn't know Raja was going to go nuts. He didn't want this for Stu, nor did he want this for Raja. On top of that, Raja was live streaming. This whole time, people saw everything that happened. He saw what Psycho Stu did when he hit him in the head with a beer can. And I don't know what you guys think about the internet, but it can be an incredibly toxic place. And this whole time, people were challenging his manhood. They were calling him all kinds of names, and they were egging him on to get his revenge. And I'm not saying being rage baited is okay and it justifies doing something like this, but let's try and just put ourselves in his position. He's feeling terrible from being concussed. Maybe he's confused. His coach, who's an authority figure, tells him to hit Stu, and at the same time, his chat is telling him to get revenge. So, I just gotta say, lay off Raja, everybody. But do all of those factors change your mind about the situation? I would love to hear about it in the comments. And while you're there, please leave a like and subscribe. It'll make you a better person. So, is going through all of that enough for you to lose control and do something like Raja did? No, me neither. I feel like I can relate to all of those things, and I would not do that to Stu. So, maybe Raja is a monster. But I've come across enough monsters in my career to know that there is always a story. Monsters aren't born, they're made. So who is responsible for creating Raja? Gee, I wonder who it could be. So what I didn't mention is that during his live stream, his own dad, Rampage, was also complicit in rage baiting him. His dad actually called him while he was ringside waiting to jump in the ring.
Did you get jumped by a bunch of dudes in tights?
No.
You straight. I looked at your stream because my chat was going crazy. And then by the time I popped in your stream, you was hugging on a dude in some damn tights.
Man, shut the fuck up.
Man, you shut the fuck up. I looked at your stream, nigga, you were hugging on some dudes in some booty shorts. Okay, was you not around a bunch of dudes with some damn thunderdoms on?
Pro wrestling show.
Oh, yeah, the pro wrestling show.
He wants to be mama right here. That's my
Nigga, I thought you was a motherfucker at a baby oil show.
I've been watching MMA for a while, so I've seen a lot of Rampage Jackson. And from what I've seen, I would assume that it'd be very difficult to be his child, but it was way worse than I could have possibly imagined. I first got introduced to Rampage and Raja's dynamic through a random YouTube clip that came onto my algorithm. The clip was Rampage talking in a very, very demeaning, denigrating way about Raja's mom. Let me tell you guys, my jaw dropped when I heard what he was saying about this guy's mom to his face. Ever since I saw that clip, I saw Raja as a ticking time bomb, which is why I said I wasn't surprised at what he did. I don't want to play the audio of this clip because the language is just so crazy, but here Rampage is basically getting up in Raja's face and telling him how he hates him. And I don't know if Raja's gay or if he's a vegetarian or vegan, but he's saying these very, very mean things in his face in a very, very aggressive way. Saying he wants to adopt a child from Africa because that child is going to be everything he wanted in a son, and that he hates Raja. And he says he's going to go and get women and eat meat with his son. And I don't know if this is supposed to be funny or if they joke around in this manner all the time, but if you look at Raja, he looks very, very uncomfortable. He's not laughing. He doesn't think it's funny at all. And these aren't just isolated incidents. This happens all the time between Rampage and Raja. And if you think this just happens when he's an adult, Raja tells a story about his 7th birthday party. Rampage gets him some toys and he wants a hug from his dad, so he goes in for a hug. And Rampage farts in his face and starts laughing at him. And Raja starts crying. And Raja's recounting this story as an adult. And obviously, it's a very salient, painful memory for Raja. It's something that was seared into his memory. And I think that this is very indicative of the relationship for his whole entire life. So, what does this kind of treatment do to a person? What happens when your father, the person that's supposed to love, protect, encourage, and cherish you, tells you that he hates you? What is the effect of calling your son hurtful names, laughing at him, making fun of him for his life choices, threatening him, and telling him that you want another son because he's such a disappointment? Well, it makes him feel insignificant. It makes them view themselves as not valuable or worthless. And the thing about human beings is feeling worthy or worth is a very fundamental human need. It's such a powerful, strong need that it will cause people to do things that go against their very well-being. Raja actually seems emotionally arrested to me. He seems kind of like a little kid. I used to work with abused children, and they all have this look. It's hard to describe if you don't have the experience, but it can come off as shy or as lost, but it really comes down to them feeling like nothing or feeling really small. Raja has that look to me, and it reminds me of those kids. He feels much younger. And if that's the case, that Raja is just a little scared, beat down, belittled, ignored kid, desperately fighting for some value and worth and some kind of validation in his dad's eyes, as someone who has seen so many abused children, it's hard for me to see Raja as a monster. He's just a kid, but he's very hurt and misguided. Now, I don't condone, like I said, what he did. In fact, I feel so bad for Psycho Stu. Me and my family prayed for him, for his recovery, and Stu actually seemed like a nice guy, like he was trying to help Raja in that situation. And I know the image of him being beaten by Raja makes Raja appear to be a monster, but I just don't think that he is. But in the grand scheme of things, what I think is not going to impact Raja in any significant way. What is far more important is what Raja believes about himself. Because right now I believe there's a chance that he still sees himself as I do, as a misunderstood guy who made a mistake. And if he sees himself in that way, well, a misunderstood guy who made a mistake can overcome that and come back from that mistake. But if he listens to the internet noise and believes that he is a monster, then that is exactly what he will be. But those are my thoughts, guys. What do you guys think about Raja's situation? I'd love to hear about it. Thanks for watching, guys. Love you. See you next time.